Good evening, Math Dragons. This is Mrs. Morgan, your math instructor. I'm going to review with you the interactive notebook pages we need to do. So I have an example here of fourth period. This was your cover sheet. We labeled it A. Make sure your first and last name are on here. And in case you haven't noticed, the website for our class is here, and so is my YouTube channel. B goes here, this little dragon with the glasses. Put your first and last name, your class period, and then your class number. Remember, I don't have a class number because I'm the teacher, so I put 0, but you have something 1 through 30. We will have technology information, we just don't have it yet. Now, we're in quarter 1, so this is the cover for quarter 1 of our awesome interactive math notebook. This is on page C. B is our table of contents. So far on our real pages, not the ones lettered, number 1 is thought bubble flaps. Number 2 is growth mindset flippable. Number 3 is the one we're going to install today, accountable talk stems. I'll zoom out so you can see that D and E have been carved out as their function to be table of contents. So both sides may or may not get used, but we definitely have both sides for use. We'll definitely fill up this side. We may get as far as this side. Now, my thought bubble flaps began here. You should have 6. This is the growth mindset we set into place together. Black, green, purple, red, blue, and orange. You should have filled in these blanks. These are just my templates. Here, page 3, this is where we're putting the accountable talk stems. I've gone ahead, one step ahead, and have colored the stems, because you don't need to see me color. But I am going to cut with you to make sure you cut in the right places and give you some tricks on how to make it easier and faster for yourself. So I've done the title in brown. How do I agree with my peers is a match here is red. The elaborate on what someone said is a match here in green. How do I disagree is a match here in blue. And how do I ask for proof or help is a match here in purple. Word to the wise. I do the outline and marker first, if you choose to outline, then add color, such as crayon or colored pencil. But because crayon and some colored pencils are waxy, you cannot put marker on top. So start with marker, then crayon or colored pencil. That is my clue number 1. Now I'm going to cut. Do not chop off these tabs. We're going to glue these down momentarily. So follow along with me. We're going to cut out along here, leaving the tabs in place. I'm going to take off the excess here. Remember, I have super awesome adult scissors, so they just slide across the paper. Now, maybe your parents will let you use some super awesome adult scissors too, but that is something you have to ask permission for. They're very sharp. So this is going to be my title. Now I'm going to use glue stick for everything, but you can also reinforce things with Scotch tape once you're finished. So this will go about there. I'm going to just make sure everything's going to fit. Actually, I can bring that down a little bit. So I'm just doing placement. I'm not gluing anything yet. Now this one we can go all the way around. There's no tabs here. So I'm just going to trim. Nice. It's a little bigger than I anticipated. That's okay. All right, so the backdrop, needs to get glued down. The whole page is really going to need glue, so I'm just going to go ahead and take care of that. If you use liquid glue, which is fine and much more affordable, use dots. Do not smear it all over the place. You will have a mess on your hands. It'll make your paper wavy and unworkable. Okay. There we go. So I am thinking, I'm actually going to trim this down because I am going to cover this here. Yep. And this one here. I'm going to let these other titles poke out in front on top here. I think that'll work very nicely. Now, usually I say glue down the sides and then cut down the middle. I'm not sure if that's going to work out for me, but I am going to try that strategy. So we only want to apply glue along the edge. On each side, because they're going to work like flaps momentarily. Line it up like that. Like that. I'm going to reinforce it with some tape. In a moment. I am going to snip straight down the middle. Because now I have this on this side. And creasing it will make it easier to use in class. And try to create a crease on this side. Doing my best. Oh, that one came unstuck. Definitely going to need some tape to make these more functional. Continue with these. A little bit here. A little bit on this side. So I'm repeating the process. Going to line those up real nice. I'm letting those top titles poke right above the flaps. That's what's happening there. I'm just going to cut down the middle here. Try to do a fold back if I can. Actually, I had to move it to get it to work. Notice I had to readjust it to get it to fit the way I want it. And you might have to readjust it to fit your own personal notebook paper too. We don't all have the same size. That's a nice thing about if you work quickly and you work with this kind of glue, you can fix a mistake rather efficiently. There. Yeah, that's better. I want to be able to see all my words. That's what went wrong. But I have enough room to take it all the way to the edge. And it's in place. Okay, so catch up with me by putting it in place. Now, accountable talking stems, the purpose of these is to communicate with the partners at your team in a more effective way. You want to get along, but you don't have to agree. Or you might not quite understand, and you'd like someone to elaborate. So these are basically sentence starters to help you communicate effectively with the other mathematicians in the classroom. As you can see, I was struggling with my glue, so I'm going in with tape. That is definitely going to secure the situation. This happens sometimes, and I'm keeping this on here, this mistake, so to speak. I could have recorded a new video, but I think it's good for you to see that it doesn't always work out perfect, but I try my best. So hopefully that's going to stay in place. Maybe you have stronger glue than I have, because my glue is not sticking. Let's take a look. So today, hopefully you remember that we worked on distributive property using the area model, and we worked with those large rectangles that we constructed from two smaller rectangular models. And we talked about all these, we talked about patterns today in class. And I could say, I agree with you because I noticed the pattern between the side lengths as well. I noticed that they were common. Or to explain more on what Derek said, perhaps Derek said he noticed that the two repeated in each column. To explain more on what Derek said, I noticed the 2 repeated and it was related to the side lengths. Or someone could say all of them were multiples of 3, which we did talk about a little bit, and I could say I disagree with you because the multiple 9 was missing. Now here is what you can say. I still have questions about how the distributive property was represented on the model. I don't know what you mean by saying that the side length matches the factor. The question I have is, why do we care? That's always a good question, but we do care. Clarify what you mean by the matching side length. So all of these are prompts. So if you're ever challenged by talking with your team or your other classmates, these are prompts to assist you and facilitate the conversation. I'm going to put these back. This is number 3. So hopefully your book is in order. We've been working really hard on making sure that you have it straight. So just to recap, this should be A, B, C, table of contents, space for table of contents, thought bubbles 1, growth mindset 2, and now the accountable talk stems 3. Thank you for joining me for this video. I look forward to seeing you in math class tomorrow.